about the story of Buried Planet. Without trying to spoil too much, this was a long book in the making, decades. I began working on it in my early 20s, and then I was switched to something else, and then returned to it. It took me quite a while to create, or I should say, to recreate it over and over until I was happy with it. Like all stories, quite a lot of the author can be seen in it. For example, having struggled with certain difficulties pretty much all of my life, something that seems to have only grown worse the older I get, I could not help but naturally try and address them in this tale. Situations, sometimes too frequent, where your own mind seems to take away any will, any input away from you. That can be quite terrifying. Your brain getting stuck on the repetition of a gesture or habit in what sometimes seems like hours or the whole day. Truly dreadful. And so, Buried Planet is a story focused primarily around choice. Every character is heavily bound to it. The very plot is constantly circling around it. Choices forced upon characters, choices that some ancient race did long ago, but that most of the peoples in present times still allow themselves to be affected by them daily. It is about hope, about remembering that even though sometimes it may feel like something is being forced onto us by some greater power, in the end, we are the ones making the final decision. We are the ones that choose how we confront what is thrown at us, whether that may be an extortionist act by someone else, our own mind working against us, or even the unavoidable passing of time and how we all have to grow old. Ultimately, we are the ones that decide how we handle it. So, due to my own lack of choice sometimes, I decided to leave as much of it to the reader as I could. Choice is a privilege, and we wouldn't want to live in a world without it. I know how I feel when that ability to choose seems to be taken away from me. And so, and so I thought I should thank the reader by bestowing as much of it as I was able. Even the very ending is ultimately up to the reader to decide. It is also loaded with all the things I grew up loving, of course, cherishing. It is filled with references to what influenced me. The characters I try to depict, I depicted them in the modern superhero style, but they are paired against backgrounds resembling old paintings, which helped me get that much needed contrast and display of information. I hope that almost none of them belongs there in the story. I apologize. And the one that actually does is slowly merging with it all. Without giving too much, there are clear references to fantasy, but also old school fiction. Even to much older works, such as the Circle Layers of the Underworld, made famous by Dante Alighieri. And then I incorporate every reference anyone might find into the very plot, which was, quite honestly, the very best part of it all. Buried Planet was, in all honesty, something that drained me significantly, but also something I really enjoy doing. But what I enjoy even more so is any opportunity given to me to show it.